Sup Shredders, my name is Logan, aka Spiderhands, and welcome to an SP Patrons video today that I'm making for Eli as part of the custom monthly music review. And if we switch over to here, we've got Tyler the Creator's album Igor on the screen. We're going to be listening through Gone Gone / Thank You from start to finish, and we're going to hear what we think. Spotify also has lyrics here, so let's go, let's do it. Interesting with the
felt like summer to my December. Was it my August? Shit, I don't remember.
I mean, like, we just have so much going on immediately with that cute little sort of lo-fi synth pad there with the sequences, the vocals, and an octave I wasn't expecting from Tyler the Creator from what I've heard from him. It's just... And the guitars as well?
I know my temperature was set. You finally flew south. The bird gon' leave the nest so chromatic. At least I had it instead of never. Or maybe I'm too dramatic. Whether it's rain or shine, I know I'm fine for now. My love's gone.
I struggle to review this stuff because it's so eclectic. It's so different to a lot of rap and hip hop, for instance, that I've listened to. It's just another level, isn't it? It's definitely not what I would expect from my time with the genre, especially when I used to listen to it in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I know that's obviously about 20-something years ago, and it's making me feel very, very old, even if I was like a 6-year-old when I started getting into some of that stuff, apparently. But basically, it's just, how do you even describe something like this without stating the obvious? It sounds like someone with the limiters off, you know?
I know love was all I got. I just hope to God she got good taste. Could put you on some shit you never seen. Could play a couple songs that you could dance to. I hope you know she can't compete with me. Whether it's rain or shine, I know I'm fine for now. My love's gone. My love's gone.
The repugnant tone on that 808 is somehow soothing, and I don't even know how they pulled it off. I mean, like, how do they figure this out? I suppose you really are just trying to find fresh, new combinations of elements there. Like those synths with the male and female vocals harmonizing with the My Love's Gone part. It just gets stuck in your head. It makes me wonder how much variety we have tonally within this album itself. Is this a track of all songs like this, or is this one album with things with this avant-garde? Or is it avant-garde because it's not what I expect and we're trying to revolutionize the genre? Oh, going for a minorish tone there. All the neo soul elements with those extended chords are so smooth, man.
bitch walked outside the front door. Knock, 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 knock. I'm not shocked I brought this on me. It's my fault. You gon' leave. Let's talk. See, the weatherman told me it wasn't raining. My stupid ass brought umbrellas. I got a glimpse of your cloud and felt better. Now it's 90 degrees and all the tricks of my sleeve is drenched in sweat and delusion because I jet to conclusion. You got your thing, I got nothing but memories. I know your secrets, nigga. I'm not bitter or nothing, I understand that. Everybody making a choice according to plan. And we had two different blueprints, but understood influence. You opened up early on, I thought I had a permit. We started building the bridge and turned it into a fence. Then my building got torn down all because of your new tenant.
Oh no. Oh no. Is that what I think it is? Did someone else get involved?
Vibe some new shit, never down with a lease. You never lived in your truth, I'm just happy I lived in it. But I finally found peace, so peace. Let me do it over. Everything.
Like, I hate wasted potential. That shit crushes your spirit. It really does. It crushes your soul.
I'm assuming this is the point where things flip, for better or worse. It already feels like this is a three-parter, even though there's two. I think another thing that stands out to me within this track is just how the percussion either surrounds you or it's in your face. With the previous track, we had like the first part, there was little clicks and little chitters going on around the sides of it. And it was almost like you were having things literally playing in your eardrums. But I think it's just so wonderful how it can come down to this. That is my favorite chord progression there. That. We're setting it up for a chromatic cascade there, but. I mean, like, this is part of why I love my job, because I have people like Eli sending through songs like this that just blow my mind, dude. And I'm not even saying that because I feel like I'm obligated to. You know how, like, you watch some channels and they're like, whoa, this was amazing, it's the best thing I'd ever write, and it's not real. Because you can tell they're trying to hype it up for the sake of audience retention or some shit. But, like, for real, if I seem kind of a little bit subdued, it's simply because I think that you can genuinely learn something as a music producer from listening to Tyler, the Creator's stuff. And welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from Tyler, the Creator, titled Gone Gone Thank You off of their Igor album. What do I think this track is about? I think at its core, if we remove the mysticism about it with the wordplay, the lyricism, the poetry, etc., I think that what it's about is you maybe had the ladies' take on things at the start, then you had the guys' take in the middle, and then the final part is thank you for this experience, but I never want to do this again. That's basically my take on it. Any sort of justifications I had initially, Tyler was like, nah, I don't want none of that, you know. I understand what you did, you know. You built a bridge, you opened up, and then you built a fence, and then you let another tenant in, so I was just out. You know, I think that's my take on it. I could have gotten it wrong, and I apologize if that's the case, but I think it's a really classy way of discussing it because, you know, a lot of the rap and hip-hop that I've reviewed, in fact, what is this? this is hip hop, right? This is rap and hip hop, but is it a subgenre? Well, it's not just it, is it? There's so many interesting elements here. I genuinely believe after listening to this, the hype about Tyler, the Creator, he is trying to do something quite unique and revolutionary with the genre, sticking away from the staples that kept it going for the last 20, 30 years. And it's wonderful. I think that it's great to breathe light into it. I am not under the illusion that he is the sole person, the project, like he's not the sole person probably trying to do this, but I can hear this album, for example, and I can relate it to things I've heard in more recent albums, especially from independent musicians who are probably listening to the music like this and going, man, that's cool, I want to put it into my stuff. But I get it. I think it's wonderful. The story itself is easy to understand, at least if I've gotten it right, in which case it's not, and I've completely misinterpreted. But I think the art beauty of it is how it is presented, not least in part by the fact that Tyler's there. Maybe he's pitch shifting his vocals, and maybe there's or maybe he's gotten other people to do those parts, like in the start where there's like lady vocals in that higher register. The harmonies and melodies there telling that story are great. They sound like an old-timey recording, like we're nostalgic or we're remembering back into the olden days where we used to be in that situation. Like a film projector playing things back for you to kind of absorb and take it all in. I think that the extensions mirror the relative accessibility, or they contrast with the relative accessibility of the vocals well, because even though the story may seem kind of straightforward with the gone part, there's more to it than just being gone. It's about wondering why they're gone in the first place and getting both sides of why they're gone, you know? It's wondering why they feel the need to leave. I think that when Tyler comes in, you get that premise and you're like, okay, this is what it is. And then Tyler kind of breaks it down, whether it's his own situation or the other person's that he's trying to give the floor to first. And in his like low range, he raps, he expresses himself. He's not afraid to have the phrasing not like, how do I describe it? He just talks, but he raps. And it's like he's actually trying to have a conversation with the listener and not sort of talk at them. It's like we're expressing ourselves, but in one of the most masculine ways I can think of. And it's tremendous. It's wild. I think that it's not speed rapping, but the flow is so tight and so clear and so easy to digest. And it's great. It's great. It's clearly intelligent, but at the same time, it is not trying to be pretentious. It's there to give the listener something to kind of think more of if they want to, than just simply accept what is being said at face value. And I think that multi-leveled nature of it is what will give it a wider appeal to people, and I understand why it has, 330 million plays. It's great. In addition to that, I just think that journey from Gone to Thank You with the various vocal styles makes the song innately more interesting, and it completely justifies the 6 minute 15 runtime, because this is a long track. 6 minutes 15 is a long time, but when I tell you that it legitimately did not feel like 6 minutes, I mean it from the bottom of my heart. It just flew by. I think part of what was so good about it is that, as per a lot of the songs on this album, it was like 2 or 3 different tracks in one, and there were little sort of like, divisions in there to get you set up for the new part. The predominant elements within this were obviously these really interestingly sampled percussive elements there, with kicks and clicks and really sort of trashy snares and claps and cymbals that were either in the center of the stereo field or surrounding you. There were varied rhythms and approaches to it. They were not all the same loudness. They adjusted and varied the intensity of those hits there. They came and they went. They weren't there at the same time. You'd just not have an established groove. You had an established atmosphere, and we did not feel the need to do anything more than simply have the drums suit the mood, build it, leave, come back. And I think that was a similar situation with those bass lines where it was so filthy, man. The distortion and gain on those 808s was ridiculous, but somehow it managed to suit, I think in part because of those luxurious 7th extended pads that we had. Those automatic four tones there with the 7ths or 9ths there. They were just wonderful. They were modulated. You had the chords go up or down with the major or minor choices they made there. Switching from major to minor in that middle part there, I think we got a bit sadness, so we took away from the everything is daisies, everything will be okay attitude, so they're actually dealing with the consequences of that fallout and not accepting things at face value quota. I think what we had here was we had similar elements repurposed and deconstructed and built up again, and we obviously would have had more ingredients in it, but those are the ones I can remember vividly. We had just obviously the vocals were the focal point, but we also had other bits sticking around the stereo field, like little clicks of the percussion and such like that. That really, we had little synth sequences and stuff like that as well, like 16th note ones that floated in the ether, and it was so pretty. It was so pretty, man. It was a simple bass line and chord progression that stuck with most of those parts. Sure, there was like adjustment there, but it was so intoxicating, almost like love itself, the thing we're never wanting to fall in love again, you know? It's so addictive, but we can't live with it. And I think it's probably my favorite Tyler, the Creator track at this point. Not that I've listened to a lot, but for other ones I have heard, it's probably my favorite. I like what they did with the long form track. It was very well considered and well presented. I think finally, the motif overall, it equates to what we've described here. I think it's someone in their own head working stuff out, trying to come to terms with the explosion of a life that they lived, the cacophony of the relationship that came and fell apart in an imperfect environment. It's not just, oh, that person bad, me unhappy, rah, rah, rah. There's introspection from both sides and an attempt to balance things in a very mature, interesting, and really intellectually satisfying way, if that doesn't sound weird. It feels like the music is trying to allow you to really sink your teeth in, and it demonstrates the capacity to be great on all levels. And the theme itself matched the vocals well and the story that's being told, and I have no complaints. I mean, finally, the studio recording, mixing, and mastering, how things were handled was beyond really solid. Like, it was almost beyond commercial grade, because it was like we knew so much about what to do with it that we could even know what rules to break. Yeah, it's a given that the vocals are going to be clear and that we're going to have those faded reverbs and stuff like that and those filters, but it was more like even elements that wouldn't usually go together, like the really filthy synths and like the neo-soul stuff, it all came together and was squished together into a really satisfying experience. So it's like we basically incorporated and slammed together elements that don't usually work together, somehow making them nostalgic and smooth. I don't know how the hell they did it, man, but definitely not by accident. It's wonderful. And the fact that things are nice and wide in the stereo field, great balance of ingredients, and the frequency spectrum, there were no resonant frequencies there. It was nice and tight with leveling being solid. There was dynamic range to this as well. Things came down, especially in that part about wanting to need to maybe redo it again. And then finally, it was nice and loud without pumping at the same time, with no breathing or any weird stuff going on, so limiting bus compression was handled. Effectively, this is my review of this track from Tyler, the Creator, titled Gone, Gone, and thank you, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please go show Tyler, the Creator, some love via their various social medias and a Spotify page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next SC Patrons video. Spiderhands Out.